About 30 miles south of downtown Chicago, tucked away behind the Midlothian Turnpike, there is a hidden cemetery accessible only down a beaten path, surrounded by a chain-link fence and an algae-filled pond. It's the oldest cemetery in all of Cook County, dating back to 1844. In the 1960s and 70s, the cemetery was subjected to many drinking parties, robberies, satanic rituals, and vandalism, with reported apparitions of a woman in white and even a monster that lives in the pond. It has been said that this is the most haunted cemetery in the United States. Welcome to Bachelor's Grove. Today we are visiting Bachelor's Grove Cemetery in Midlothian, Illinois. There is a lot of history behind this cemetery. I believe nobody's been buried here within the past 50 years. This is regarded as one of the most haunted cemeteries within North America. Some people even say the world. There's a lot of history and things behind this cemetery, including a woman in white, an apparition, and even a creature that lives in the lagoon that we'll talk about in a little bit. But what is known is, in the lagoon at least, that there were bodies dumped during the mobster era, which is interesting. I'll get into a little bit more of the history. But if you are interested in coming to Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, you do kind of have to hike your way into it. It's not clearly marked. You kind of have to do your research. There is a little forest preserve with parking, and you can make your way over here. I just got back from that beautiful walk over there. Make sure if you come during the summertime to look around you. There's so many beautiful things, so many wildlife and growth that you can see surrounding this area. But at the end of your walk, you're going to be approached by this gated cemetery. I feel like every time I come here, something's a little bit different. But here we are going to approach this side of the cemetery where you can see this concrete block that I will align a very famous photo. That block is what is said that the woman in white is, that her apparition showed up on. Now, as we walk through the cemetery, you can see that not a lot of the headstones are sat up. Now, back in, I believe, I want to say that it was the 70s and 80s, but that's when there was a lot of vandalism happening at the cemetery, that actually 2 bodies were exhumed. The families of 2 people exhumed their bodies to move them to a safer location. And as you can see, there are some newer toys and things that have been left by people who come here to visit. Something that I really like to look at is what's written on tombstones, and you can tell that a lot of these graves are they're older. Like I mentioned before, nobody's been buried here within the past 50 years. Here you can take a look at the dates. Something that I would like to mention is that the vandalism got so bad here that, like I mentioned before, 2 bodies did have to be exhumed. But if you come around here, you'll see that there's not a whole lot of markers, and it's because people were stealing them, that really you don't really know where you're walking, which is really unfortunate, because if you are somebody like me who likes to walk around in cemeteries, you know the code of not stepping on the tombstones. That's something that is very disrespectful. But you have really no way of knowing, because people used to steal them. As you can see that there are plenty of little toys and mementos left for this grave here that says infant daughter. As we turn around to the other side of this marker, there are some things left, and this is the father's grave. And it's interesting that every time that I see a video about this place that shows this specific grave, there's always a beer left. The last one that I saw from Grim Life Collective, they had a Corona, and this one is an old style, which I'm not sure what the significance of what draws people to do that, but it's there. And there is no mother headstone, which is what leads me to believe that it was stolen, or perhaps maybe she wasn't buried here. Here I'm approaching the lagoon. I'm probably not going to get that far into it, but I will try to get a couple of good shots. As you can see, the gates to the cemetery, or the fence I should say, do close off a little bit. You kind of have to go down this little, and it is very muddy, so I'm not gonna get too close, but once a pleasant swimming hole. Now it's an algae-filled, smelly pond. Many believe that its bottom holds many secrets, like where all the missing headstones are, and it's said that this is the dumping site of 1920s gangsters, but of course, nothing is confirmed. Urban legend says that this pond is haunted by a horse and a farmer who drowned sometime within the 1800s, and there are reports from 2 forest rangers claiming that they saw this apparition in the pond. The 2-headed monster who lives in the pond may just be the hauntings of the farmer and the horse, but I kind of like the idea of a cemetery Nessie. So that is all I'm going to show for Bachelor's Grove Cemetery this time, but there is a second location, which I didn't know about until the Grim Life Collective video, that there's actually a hidden bunker about 2 miles away from here. I have gone to this cemetery a number of times throughout the years, whether it's, I remember my first time was one of my family friends took me here in 7th grade because she knew that I was into different things, kind of things. I was interested in cemeteries and all of that. And then anytime somebody visits me to visit Chicago that kind of is into the stuff, they ask me about it. So I've come here a number of times, but I didn't know about this bunker, so let's go on over there and check it out. Alright, so you can kind of see that there are some like towers, cell towers. You can barely see it right now because of everything's so heavily grown over, but that's the only thing we have to go off of, so we're just gonna try and go in. Into the woods we go, or however it went. Alright, so doing a little bit of walking around. You can see there's a little room right down there. Let's go on the other side. And it is really just right off of the highway, like, or the street that's right over here. It was not that hard to find. If you can see in the background, there are cars. I'm sure a lot of kids used to come down here at some point to vandalize and maybe partake in some lettuce. If you know me in real life, you know that I'm scared of bugs. I'm really scared of bugs. But hopefully I can muster up the courage to get down there because it does look really cool. There isn't a whole lot, but it's cool just to go down there just to see what's up. All right, I'm going in. I would love to see what is all up in here. I think I'm gonna come back in the winter time once all of these plants have died so we can see what's really down here. It's really not that deep, but I can tell that in some areas it's a little bit deeper. You can see that there are some older things that are left, along with the paving that's over here. I wonder what is in here. Alrighty, everybody, thank you so much for following me along with this video. And please let me know if there's anything else in the Chicagoland area you would like to see. I am gonna be making my rounds through a list, but I would love to hear what you see, what you wanna see. Alrighty, I'll see you next time, bye.